Tonight, you will lose consciousness, and something will take over. It will build you a world, a specific place, with light coming from somewhere, and a floor you can feel under your feet, and people you recognize whose faces are slightly wrong. You will believe it completely. You will feel fear in it, and grief in it, and sometimes a joy so clean you wake reaching for it, and then it will vanish. You have done this roughly 100,000 times. Nobody knows why. Not really. We have theories, we have data, we have decades of sleep labs, and the dreaming brain remains one of the last things inside your own body that belongs entirely to itself. The oldest humans didn't find this strange at all. They found it obvious. In ancient Mesopotamia, dreams were not a mystery to be solved. The Assyrians kept professional dream interpreters. You didn't ignore a dream, you reported it. Someone with authority translated it, and then you acted on it. The Egyptians built temples specifically for dreaming. You went in sick, you fasted, you slept on sacred ground, and whatever came to you in the night was the diagnosis. The practice was called incubation. You were planting yourself in holy ground and waiting to see what grew. In ancient Greece, a god named Morpheus was responsible for the whole operation. His job was to take human form and appear inside your sleep with messages from the divine. His name is the root of morphine, the drug we still use today to blur the line between waking and not. The Iroquois believed that dreams expressed the hidden desires of the soul, not metaphorically, literally. If you dreamed of a specific object, the community was obligated to find it and give it to you. If they failed, illness would follow. Across every culture that left a record, the dream was taken seriously, not as entertainment, not as noise, as information. For most of human history, the dream was the answer. A graduate student in Chicago was running an experiment on his 8-year-old son. He was tracking the boy's eye movements through the night using equipment so old it kept catching fire. At a certain point in the night, the boy's eyes began moving rapidly beneath his closed lids, back and forth, fast and deliberate, like someone watching something. Azarinsky woke his son and asked what was happening. His son had been dreaming. What Azarinsky had found was REM sleep, rapid eye movement, the stage of sleep where almost all dreaming occurs. For the first time in history, dreams had a biology. You could see them from the outside. Every mammal on Earth goes through REM sleep. Your dog's legs twitch at night because some part of his brain is running through a field. Your cat's whiskers flicker because she is hunting something that does not exist. Dolphins cycle through it. So do platypuses. So do birds, briefly. Between the updrafts, they dream of riding. Whatever dreaming is for, it is not uniquely human. It is ancient. It predates our species by hundreds of millions of years. This is the first thing that should make you pause. Evolution does not keep things that cost nothing and do nothing. REM sleep is expensive. Your brain during a dream uses almost as much energy as it does when you are awake. Your body is paralyzed to stop you acting it out. You are completely vulnerable. Something this costly was kept for a reason. The first serious theory was proposed in 1977. They called it activation synthesis. The idea was simple. During REM sleep, the brainstem fires randomly. It sends bursts of electrical activity up into the cortex, the part of the brain that makes meaning. It makes a story out of the noise. A dream is not a message. It is not a rehearsal. It is your brain trying to make narrative sense of static. The flying dream is not symbolic. Your brainstem fired the movement circuits and your cortex said, I need a story where this makes sense. Here is one. It was a compelling idea. It made dreams feel explainable and small, but it didn't survive the data. Because if dreams were just random noise wrapped in narrative, you would expect them to be random. They are not. Dreams cluster around specific categories with extraordinary consistency. Across cultures, across centuries, humans dream about the same things. Being chased, falling, showing up somewhere unprepared, being unable to move when something is coming for you, teeth falling out, a familiar place that is somehow not right. A Finnish neuroscientist looked at this pattern in 2000 and proposed something different. He called it the threat simulation theory. His argument was this: the sleeping brain is not processing random noise. It is running drills. For hundreds of thousands of years, the threats that could kill you were fast, physical, and real. A predator, a hostile stranger, a fall from height, a flood without warning, an injury with no one to help. A brain that had rehearsed those threats in the safe space of sleep, that had practiced running, practiced fighting, practiced the specific fear response required to survive, was a brain more likely to handle them correctly when they arrived. Revensuo found that when he surveyed dream content across populations, threatening events appeared far more often than they do in waking life. And the dreamers in those threats were rarely passive. Most of them fought back. Most of them fled. Most of them survived. The nightmare is not a malfunction. The nightmare is the point. Your recurring dream of being being chased through a hallway by something you cannot see is a 300,000-year-old survival drill running on modern hardware. There is nothing chasing you, but the software doesn't know that yet. There is a third theory, quieter than the others, and in some ways, stranger. If you track what human dreams are actually about, the single most common subject by a significant margin is not danger. It is people, specifically people you know, relationships, social dynamics, conversations that went wrong, situations where you said the wrong thing, or someone betrayed you, or you had to decide whether to trust someone and you weren't sure. A researcher named Mark Bleckner spent decades cataloging thousands of dream reports and found the same pattern every time. The dreaming brain is obsessed with other people. The theory that emerged was called the social simulation hypothesis. The idea is that dreaming is practice for the most complex thing a human being has to do, which is not outrun a predator. It is navigate other humans, to model what someone else is feeling, to anticipate how they will react, to rehearse what you will say, to work through what someone's behavior actually meant. This is the most cognitively expensive thing our species does, and we seem to practice it every single night, whether we intend to or not. The person who wronged you appears in your dream because your brain is still working on it, still running simulations, still trying to resolve something it hasn't been able to close. Matthew Walker, a neuroscientist at UC Berkeley, found that REM sleep does something no other state can replicate. It strips the emotional charge from difficult memories. You replay the event, but the cortisol is gone. The amygdala quiets. The brain files the experience away as information rather than threat. Walker calls it overnight therapy. The people who cannot do this carry their traumas differently. The emotional volume never comes down, which means the dream is not just rehearsal, it is also repair. Every night, while you believe you are resting, your brain is moving through every unresolved thing you carried into sleep, filing, cooling, deciding what to keep and how heavy to make it. And here is where it lands on the life you are actually living. The threats your dreaming brain was built to rehearse are largely gone. There are no predators outside your door. No rival camp 3 miles away, no flood season to survive, but the software kept running. And in the absence of real threats, it began borrowing from whatever your waking mind was most unable to resolve. The presentation you are not ready for, the relationship that is fraying, the version of yourself you are afraid you might actually be. Your anxiety dreams are not irrational. They are completely rational software running on a problem set it was never designed for. The ancient brain doing its ancient job in a world that moved faster than evolution could follow. 3,000 years ago, a man in Assyria had a troubling dream and walked to a temple in the morning to have it interpreted. He wasn't wrong to take it seriously. Tonight, roughly 2 hours after you fall asleep, your eyes will begin to move, your body will go still, and your brain will build you a world and put you inside it and make you believe it until the moment it doesn't. Somewhere in that world will be someone you know. Somewhere in it will be a door you cannot open, or something behind you moving faster than you can run. Your brain has been doing this for longer than your species has had language to describe it. It has never stopped. It does not need your permission. And when you wake, you will carry the feeling of it for a few seconds, maybe a minute, before it goes somewhere you cannot follow. Nobody knows where it goes. Nobody knows, really, why it came. We just know it always does. And that somewhere tonight, in a sleep lab in Boston, or a hut in Tanzania, or a room exactly like yours, someone is watching something behind their closed eyes that feels completely real and believing it until they don't.